Thank you guys for joining. I'm pretty sure that more people will join in as we go along. But basically, the Township Talks is an episode where we engage with our viewers. Essentially, we're having a conversation around who Umastandi is. So let me give you guys a brief introduction of who Umastandi is. We are a property financing company providing commercial mortgage finance, training, and mentorship, as well as guidance to property entrepreneurs in townships. We recognize the value of investing in our townships, guys. You know how it is. Most companies would rather focus on investing what you would call glitz and glamour, something that is more attractive. But the township is a thriving economy as well. Our offering assists property entrepreneurs with a full loan package. Right? So this means it covers the purchase price, the construction costs, and the legal fees, as well as other costs, up to 80% of the total. This means that you, as the applicant or as the entrepreneur, are required to contribute at least 20% in equity. And that will bring us to the first topic of discussion, which is, what do we mean by mortgage loan, mortgage finance, Nqobi? If you could just...
Sure. All right.
Give us a brief
Morning. Thanks
description.
for hosting us again. Eric Eric King.
Morning,
It's a
Eric.
pleasure. So what we mean by the word mortgage or bond, I'll just give you the simple short version. A mortgage is an agreement, a binding agreement, a legal doc in which there are terms and conditions to the finance being extended to you, in which those terms and conditions are usually pay us all our money and then the mortgage will cease to end. If you do not pay up all the money, we have certain rights on that subject property to action in order to recover our investments. So simply put, a mortgage is an agreement for the monies that have been extended to you. And often the main thing that you as a client need to do is fulfill the payments of the amount that's been extended. Once you've paid up, the mortgage falls away. That's simply what it means. How it actually works, obviously there's conveyancing, there's deeds office, there's a lot of administration behind the scenes.
Okay.
But yeah, it's an agreement for the exchange of money and the property as security.
Thank you for that clear explanation, Nqobi. I hope you guys got it on your end. The next question, it's pretty simple, pretty basic, but some of our viewers might not know what we mean when we say we require a 20% equity contribution. What are we saying?
Okay, so I'll answer it in a few ways. Equity means ownership.
Okay.
If you have 50% equity, that means you own 50% of whatever it is we're talking about. And equity, because it means of ownership, it's often referred to in finance. It's often a finance term. You don't really use the word equity anywhere else. Mm-hmm. And what it's referencing is the ownership. So when you buy stocks that are listed, you're buying shares, you're buying ownership, you are buying equity. Another way to grasp the concept of equity is you have to brush off your primary school accounting or high school. When do we start accounting? But if you remember, owner's equity is equal to the asset minus the liability, leaves you with equity. Asset minus liability gives you owner's equity. So now I'll give you a practical example.
Okay.
So equity means ownership, but I'll give you a practical example. If you buy a house for 1 million rand, mm-hmm. and the bank gives you 800,000 rand to buy that house. You put in 200,000 rand. You then have an equity position of 20%. You own 20%.
Because you put in your own money.
Well,
Essentially.
actually, that's a good question. I'm trying to just explain what equity is, because then obviously life isn't that simple. It does start to change a bit. But what is important to remember is essentially that asset minus liability equals the equity. So the property was 1 million bucks. Umastandi financed you 800,000. Let's say you didn't even put in 200,000. The property's worth 1 million rand, and Umastandi financed you 800,000. You have automatically gained 200,000 rands worth of equity, because the value of the building, the asset, minus the liability, the finance, leaves you with the equity. So in the initial scenario where you put in the 200,000 rand, yes, that is equity. You've put in 200,000 rand against the value of the building. Because what can also happen is your equity can diminish, can disintegrate, can dissolve in a deteriorating asset.
Okay.
So if the value of the building drops, you're logically going to make a loss. Here's the example. 1 million rand is the house. The Umastandi financed you 800,000 and you put in 200,000. For whatever reason, there's a tornado in the neighborhood and it's demolished a lot of the properties. So the valuation in the area for a lot of these assets starts going down because no one's repairing them. So now when it's time to sell that house, you're only able to sell it for 800,000. Accounting in grade 8, it was horrible. You're only able to sell it for 800,000. You are losing your equity position of that 200,000. Your position in it goes away. So that's where equity is now shrinking, because the value of the building is no longer what it used to be. So just because it cost A doesn't mean that's the value. Just because what you paid for the building does not just keep that as the value, full stop. And the same way is for the property escalating in value. You buy houses now for $1 million, and in 15 years' time, that property is worth 2 million rand. You have gained equity of $1 million.
Perfect. Well, class is in session, guys. That was a whole lecture, and I hope it was clear.
I hope it was clear, guys.
I hope you guys heard that. But also, feel free to pop us any questions that you guys might have in the comment section, and we'll be sure to address those before we end the live. Do you recognize that name, Nqobi, over there? Marilyn Muzero.
Yes, I do. Hi, Marilyn.
Good morning, Marilyn.
It was Marilyn, the lady who said, Shunaz.
Yeah.
Shunaz in Eden Park.
Marilyn is also in Eden Park.
Marilyn is also from Eden Park. And
the
I was
Village
with
Circle, yes.
I was with her and her team 2 weeks ago.
So happy you could join us, Marilyn. I see more people are joining. We have Imbali Property Group. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. So happy you could make it. We still have a few more minutes left. So let's move on to the next question. And I mean, we are a township property financier, meaning that if your property is located in the township, it can possibly qualify. But now my question is, and some of our viewers might have this question as well, is do we then finance any in every township, or do we have a select few townships, and why do we not just be all in all terms of all townships in South Africa?
So no, we are not available in every single township in South Africa. We currently do have listed areas of finance, and that it's always growing. Over the years, it's always growing. So right now you can find us in Gauteng, Cape Town, KZN, as well as Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, yes.
As well as in the Eastern Cape. We are not in Limpopo. We are not in the Northwest. We are not in... is Limpopo in Northwest?
No, that's two.
We are not in Limpopo. We're not in the Northwest. We're not in Mpumalanga. As of now. However, in the near future, we definitely will get there. So in Gauteng, Cape Town, KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, we have a huge list. I'm sure you can find it on our website. Sure, you can find it on our Facebook. I'll run through it if you want.
Sure,
show the
please.
team out. So I won't go through all of it. But maybe actually, let me give you a few minutes. Maybe you can spot yours.
I don't think they can even see.
Can they
that
see?
because it's
How
inverted.
close is it?
It's
Is
inverted.
it? Okay. That
So
didn't
it's difficult to see. Yeah.
Gauteng, Soweto, all of Soweto and neighboring Lenasia, Eldorado Park, we're there. Mohlakeng, Kagiso, Atteridgeville, Lotus Gardens, Mamelodi, Esteras, Namaipias, Olivenotbos, Sosha, Eden Park. Give us something, we'll come do it. Ivory Park, Ebony Park, Galfontein, Ravi Ridge, Klipfontein, Clayville, Ekurhuleni. A little bit tricky to get deals done that side, but we are there.
In Ekurhuleni.
We recently just did a deal in Davidson. But find us in Spruitview, Vosloorus, Katlehong, Davidson, Greater Tembisa, Roodepoort, Cape Town. Again, we are also. Do you know where our properties are in Cape Town? Unfortunately, I haven't been to our Cape Town branch, but we've got some assets that side. Kylie, Delft, Mandalay, Montclair, Gugulethu, Tulanga, just to name a few, can find us there. If you guys do not hear of your township, your neighborhood being mentioned, it doesn't mean we're not there. Always at least send us an email to inquire whether or not
Yes.
we're funding that side.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You guys can find the entire list of our areas of finance on our website, which is www.umastandi.co.za. We've listed all the areas that we finance in, but like Nqobi already said, if your area is not listed there, pop us an email, reach out to us. If your project is feasible, it's a possibility. I think let's attend to the last question before we take our viewers' questions. So now I've watched the Umastandi live. I'm interested. I have no experience in property development, property management. Can I still approach you, or do I first need to get my ducks in a row, learn about property, and then approach Umastandi? Do I need experience? How does it work?
So no, you don't need experience. We prefer you have experience. It makes the investment easier. But no, you don't need to have experience. What you do need to have, though, is you need to be clear on what it is you're getting involved in, and what it is you want to do, and also be responsible, because this is a loan. So you have to be professional. You have to have integrity, and yeah, always be transparent, particularly with your lender. You don't have to have experience. We do provide a lot of support. We don't do the work for you. We're not your contractor. We're not your architect. We're not your town planner. But what we do is we advise you, and we can make some recommendations for service providers that we've worked with, and we will provide comments on what you want to do and try to tweak it and help you get it into the best foot forward. Because a lot of the time, a lot of people who don't use finance, or maybe even use finance, but maybe don't have the support, unfortunately, will over-densify the land because they weren't paying attention to not even paying attention. They didn't know what the zoning rights were. So their building plans don't get approved. The costing for construction is underestimated. So then halfway through, you finish the money, you don't know what's going on. There's a lot of those mistakes that happen when people don't have support. So what we try to do is guide you and give you support, but there is a responsibility on your side, because we're simply the lender. We're a financial institution providing you with the commercial mortgage. But I don't want you guys to feel that we're the same as a competitive bank who just provides you with the finance and you must pay your installment month end. We go over and above to try be involved in what's happening in your project, but the responsibility is always with you, and not to be confused, misconstrued. You're going to say, no, you guys are going to build for me and design for me. We don't do that.
You still have to be responsible. That arises. Just one last question before we take theirs. How important is a credit score here?
What is going on with our chairs? Because there is no way you're taller than me.
I'm taller than Nqobi and he can't handle it, guys. I'm taller. I'm sure you guys can see that I am taller. It's quite evident in the camera.
But that's fine. It's cool. You guys, she's not taller than me.
No, I'm not. It's just my chin.
What was your question?
Credit score.
What about it?
I mean, do we look at that? Is that important? Because I've received numerous questions where somebody will say, I have a passion for property. I have a stand. I'd like to build rooms, but I'm currently unemployed and I have a bad credit record. Can you still help me?
Unfortunately, guys, the importance of your credit score, particularly when you want to go ask for money from institutions, it's almost the number one decision maker. Because what the credit score does, guys, it shows us how you've behaved in managing your other financial obligations, whether big or small, whether a clothing account, cell phone contract, vehicle finance, or a home loan, or your credit card. It shows us, it tells the story if you've paid your payments all the time or not. And it also tells the story of what did you do, because it's understandable, life happens. Things happen and you can't make the payments. All right. It then also tells the story of what did you do in dealing when the situation got bad. Did you run away? Did you put your head in the sand and think it's all just going to disappear? Or did you enter into arrangements with your debtors, with the companies that you owed money to? Did you speak to them? Were you transparent? All of that really gets pulled from the credit score. As well as being a financial services provider, we have to pay attention to the credit score when we provide you with the loan, particularly with the amounts we finance. It's not a 50,000 Rand loan, it's 500,000 Rand, 5 million Rand. So as due diligence as a financial services provider, you want to understand your client's payment behavior and payment profile, just as doing our due diligence as a financial services.
Thank you, Nqobi. I think let's take in questions from our viewers. So this one is from Lulu M.
Okay.
And Lulu is asking, does one make any payments while building?
No, we give you, so this is one of the things we like to, pride ourselves on, is that we provide you with a grace period.
Okay.
In which, if you need 5 months to build, we will look to give you 7 months grace period so that you can build and you can also place your tenants. Month number 8 would be your first installment. That grace period, and you are accruing interest during that time, but you don't pay us. It all just gets amortized into the remainder of the loan.
Okay, another one again from Lulu. Do you finance both residential and commercial, or just residential?
We finance both. But I should say that when you want to do a commercial property, and when we say commercial, for those listening in, commercial means a shop or retail, even offices too. But we are anchored in providing affordable housing, umastandi and tough. So we always need a residential component on the building. So, simply put, usually you get a mixed use building where ground floor is shops, upstairs are apartments. That's perfect. If you want to buy a place that will be converted into apartments, perfect. We don't do office only. So if you want to do a commercial loan with us and you want to just develop offices, we don't do that. But we can do a mixed use building so long as residential is involved in your scheme.
Okay. Lulu, I hope you got that, and I hope that answers both your questions.
We don't do home loans as well, guys. So earlier on, I was just giving you an example to explain what equity was.
Yes.
But we don't do home loans. To distinguish between a home loan and a commercial property loan.
Mm-hmm.
Commercial means business. So the property has to be a business. It can't be your personal residence.
Okay.
The property needs to have multiple units where the income generated will be more than the operating expenses and the installments, thus leaving a monthly profit. Home loan is for you in your personal capacity to go live in. The house doesn't produce income. In fact, it's just
your house.
It's just your house and an expense. We don't do that.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that, Nqobi. Let's take one from Franklin Bongi. Franklin says, can you assist with secure finance to buy another property? Not sure if that question is clear.
Just try, I get your question, it's just it's not clear.
Okay.
Can
So Franklin Bongi, if you're still tuned in, if you could please clarify your question just a bit more.
Can you buy a property? Yes, we can provide finance to buy a property, but it doesn't seem like that's what you were asking me.
Yeah. So perhaps just clarify it for us, Franklin, so that we can answer you as best as we possibly can. And then we have a comment from Imbali Property Group. Imbali, it's not so much a question, but just a statement asking if our email address is still the same, which is info@umastandi.co.za. Yes, it is. There might have been a delay in you getting a response. We'll make sure that we follow up for you, but that is the correct email address. We do receive a number of emails. Apologies for that delay, but we'll make sure that that you are responded to as soon as possible. Imbali Property Group. Thank you for that. And Imbali is also asking what are the minimum units that we can finance? Minimum number of units.
We don't really make our assessment based on the number of units. However, there is a maximum number of units.
Okay.
Even that, it really goes with your level of experience. Have you ever built anything before? And then you want to now start by building 100 units. We can't do that.
Start humbly.
But if we have someone who's already developed over 1,000 units and has got the whole team together, you see, so that changes our consideration. But just give you an answer, I would say minimum number of units, 4 units.
Okay.
Maximum number of units, 60 units.
60.
But it really goes with who you are as an applicant, as a company, as a group. Do you have the level of expertise and experience to be able to execute 100 units? And that's where we make the call.
Okay. Imbali, I hope that is clear and answers your question. We have Lizwi Ntengeshe. I think Lizwi joined a bit later, but Lizwi is asking which areas do we cover in Joburg. So I'll just cover that quickly, Nqobi. So in Gauteng, we are Soweto, Eldorado Park, Mohlakeng, Kagiso. We are in Avery Park, Ebony Park, Kaalfontein, Klipfontein View, Clayville. We're also in Ekurhuleni, Spruitview, Vosloorus, Katlehong, Thokoza, Greater Tembisa, Davidson, and Rhodocop. But we're also in Pretoria as well. So that would be Attridgeville, Lotus Gardens, Mamelodi, Isterus, Nelmapius. I thought that was an Afrikaans name. Nelmapius, Oliven.
Isn't it?
Then it would be Nelmapius.
Nelmapius.
If it's Afrikaans.
I think it is Afrikaans. Nelmapius.
And the last one is Sosha. Sosha Nguve. Alrighty. Do we have Garankuwa as well? Do we have more questions? I think I've pretty much
Franklin
covered.
with his question.
Franklin.
So can we use his house as security to finance him to buy another property? So we can't use your personal house as security. Your house, we can use another property that is a multi-let structure and we don't just use it as security. We actually would only consider it if you are short of equity. Okay, so you've identified a second property that you want to buy, whether you want to build or it's already built and you want to buy. Let's say that property is worth $5 million. You have an existing property that has 50 units and is generating income. That second property is 5 million. We say we can finance 4 million. We need you to come with R1 million. You don't have the R1 million on you to contribute at one go like that. What you can do is we can register a bond on your existing property because it's a type of property we would finance anyways. And we can lend against the value of that building. So if that building is worth 20 million, we can give you the R1 million that you need for your second deal easily, because we now have security over your other asset, but that asset wasn't your house. It's a multi-let structure, it's a commercial property. Multi-let residential property. It produces income and it is able to service the R1 million that you needed to get the second property. The second property, we will then finance the R4 million on that based on its affordability, property B.
Okay.
So your question, yes, we do something similar to what you're asking. But if it's just your personal house, you want to put it up as collateral so that you can, no, we don't do it like that. It needs to be a multi-let property. We would lend against it, would give you money so that you can contribute towards the other property you want to buy, of which we finance up to 80% of that.
Perfect. Thank you, Nqobi. We have about, should we give them 5 minutes?
Sure.
5 minutes left of today's session. Before we take more questions, just to remind you guys about our offering. So we assist property entrepreneurs with a full loan package, guys, which covers the purchase price, the construction costs, legal fees, and other costs up to 80% of the total value, meaning that you as the applicant or the entrepreneur is required to contribute at least 20% in equity. All right, let's take another question. I love Lulu. Lulu is engaging. We have another question from Lulu. Lulu, I love you so much. Lulu is asking, is there minimum and maximum amount that we finance? Minimum or maximum?
Yes.
Okay.
The minimum isn't too clear for me as yet, but to give you an answer, I would think around 300,000 Rand is as low as we would go.
Okay.
Maximum, we internally cannot borrow one client more than 15% of the loan book. Okay. The Umastandi loan book currently is around 100 million rands. So 15%, 15 million rand is the max we could give to one client. Okay. Doesn't mean you will get 15 million just because you're asking for it. Again, refer to the level of experience, complexity of the deal.
Okay.
We also have
All
that
these
at play.
factors,
So
yeah.
as it stands, 15 million is the max, but our loan book is always growing, so that amount keeps extending. So if you had to ask me the same question in 6 months' time, I'd give you a different answer.
Okay. Well, hope that answers you, Lulu. Nqobi, I have a question of my own. We mentioned at the beginning of the session that we also provide training and mentorship.
I'm getting another chair.
You're getting another chair.
I don't know what's going on.
Guys, Nqobi cannot take that he looks shorter than me on video. In reality, he is taller.
There we
But
go. That's a bit better. Actually, move here. What was your question?
He's moving me out of frame.
What was your question?
My question is, what sort of training and mentorship does Umastandi provide?
Yeah, we've got a program called TPPE, which is a short course. Come back.
I'm back.
Which is a short course with UCT. It runs once a month. It is paid for if you're not a client. If you are a client, you get to join it for free. Really valuable course in which you, outside of the information and the education, you then create this network of like-minded people. We also have a mentorship program where you'll get 6 months one-on-one mentorship from our in-house mentor, who's got over 30, 40 years worth of experience. So we do have some educational value-added services for our clients that are completely free.
1 minute left. One last question. Who do we take? There's 2 questions. Should we address both?
Go both.
Okay. So Eric King is asking, am I allowed to sell a property after completing building it?
Oh, you're allowed to. You can do whatever you want, If we financed you, so if you're asking, Eric, that you want to do the flipping strategy, so buy rundown properties, improve them, to flip them we do it. Yeah, I'll just keep it simple. We do it.
So short answer is
We prefer long-term rental as a strategy. But if you're upfront with us on what your strategy is, we do it.
Okay, let's take one last question from Franklin Bongi. Can you finance a commercial property that's still paying a home loan?
Would have to settle your existing loan. We can't register a bond when you have a home loan on that property as well. They're both senior bonds, and what that means is, in the event of a sale of the property, the person who gets their money first is the municipality. So your rates and taxes, if you haven't been paying for the years you've been living there, you will have to pay it when it's time to sell your property. So the municipality want their money first. Thereafter, your mortgage provider needs their money. So you currently would be, let's say, with the Red Bank, with a home loan on your property. And let's say for whatever reason, we also provided you with finance to develop units on the property. So now we've got 2 senior bonds. Now who gets their money first? And that's really the issue around this. So who gets their money first? But that's just in a favorable scenario. A worst case scenario is in the event of foreclosure. So when we have to auction the property. Again, you run into that challenge. So what we then do is we would need to settle your current bond. We would carry that amount over to us and then also give you finance to build what you want to do.
Okay. Thank you for that, Nqobi. We've got a compliment from our Marilyn Muzero. She says, you guys rock. Thank you for thinking of us in the townships, opening up doors for us. We love you, Marilyn.
Pleasure, Marilyn.
Thank you for the lovely compliment. We appreciate you. Lulu, our star of the session, has another question. And I think it's quite important. Please talk about what interest rates we charge. Does it depend on your credit score?
So for your first time doing a deal with us, we're going to give you our stock standard interest rate, which is prime plus 4.3% currently. Once we have built a track record with you, and yeah, we've experienced you've never missed a payment and things like that, when you want to do your second deal, we can consider adjusting the interest rate. But we won't discount you per se because you've got a good credit score. If you have a bad credit score, you might find that the head of credit might say, you know what, this person is very risky for whatever reasons. If you really want to do this deal, we might add an extra 0.5%. But for the most part, we just keep we make the call if we want to finance you, if we're comfortable with you, and we give you our standard pricing for the first deal.
Well, thank you for that, Nqobi. Nomcebo Ngema is asking if we get involved at the beginning when a client has identified a property, do we help with negotiations?
So we don't do the actual negotiation for you.
Okay.
What we will do is we'll run a feasibility and we will tell you how much you can actually afford to buy this property. We can tell you if the property is potentially being overvalued, and we can give you ammunition when you go negotiate on why you think the price should be what you are offering. But we don't ever meet the seller per se. You know, we don't do the negotiation, but we will consult with you and help you negotiate.
Okay. Thank you for that. Nomcebo Ngema, I hope that is clear and answers your question. What would you like to do, Nqobi? I've got 2 more questions.
Yeah, we can answer the question.
Okay. Sibongiseni Sipaile is asking if we cover S3E2 next to Khayelitsha. Sibongiseni, so these are our areas of finance in the Eastern Cape region. We've got Motherwell, Valma, Khayelitsha. Is that Cape Town?
Yeah.
Not Eastern Cape. Would you look at that? It's because it's a Xhosa word. But Khayelitsha, yes, we do. We do cover.
So we're in Khayelitsha. If S3E2 is next door.
S3E2 as well. So we cover both. S3E2 and Khayelitsha. Thank you for that, Sibongiseni. Shanaz is asking, what documents do I need in order to apply for the property? This is for the property, not for the loan. I think...
What do you mean, Shanaz?
I think Shanaz meant to say, what documents do I need to apply for finance? Like, what do I need to bring?
With us?
Yeah, with us.
Look, there's a few documents, but I think simply put, credit score needs to be good. We don't do finance in your personal name, so you need to open up a company. If you are buying a property, the offer to purchase must be signed in the name of the company. If the property is already in your personal name, we will help you facilitate moving the property into the company. You need to contribute equity, which isn't a document, it's more of a requirement. But we do the normal FICA checks, copies of ID, like the normal stuff. But there's a list we'll forward to you.
Alrighty. Shanaz, I hope that's clear and it clarifies that question for you.
Okay,
guys, if
maybe
you have...
one important one on that documents question is,
yes,
if you have an existing company that's already active, it earns income, it has expenses, we will require annual financial statements for that company. But you can use a brand new company with no financial history as well.
Alrighty. Guys, if you have any other questions, you are more than welcome to either give us a call or to pop us an email. If you would like to speak over the phone, you can call us on 010-595-9000. If you'd like to pop an email through, you're welcome to. It's info@umastandi.co.za. We also do have an active website, that is www.umastandi.co.za. We're also on YouTube as Umastandi. We're on Instagram. Connect with us, pop us any questions that you guys might have. You're welcome to visit us. Whatever the case is, we are always available and ready to assist. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so I think Sibongiseni might have doubled up on their question. Let's see. Sibongiseni says, thank you guys. I currently have 2 properties in S3E2 that I have built. Now I'll be looking for the 3rd one. Hopefully you guys will help. Sure. Pop us an email, Sibongiseni, info@umastandi.co.za. Give us your details. We'll send you a feasibility form to complete, and we'll take the process from there, right, Nqobi?
Yep. Looking forward to it. We will put you in contact with the guys in the Cape Town office.
100%. So it's 10:43. We were supposed to end the live at 10:30, but obviously the main point of all these episodes, guys, is just for us to have a conversation, really, and take any other questions that you guys have. It's a discussion, because sometimes when you find out about a company and you're on their website and you're browsing through, you might have questions that you want to ask. Something might not be clear. So these are monthly sessions that we hold every last Friday of the month, with the intention of getting the word out there about who we are, and engaging with fellow entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs that want to get into the property development space. With that said, it was lovely having you guys join this live today. Thank you for engaging with us. Let me share our contact details again with you before ending it off. If you want to give us a call, 010-595-9000, email info@umastandi.co.za, website www.umastandi.coza. Thank you so much for joining. We shall love and leave you. Take care. Keep warm. Goodbye.